Guys, Kim Kardashian recently appeared on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
They all do.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on. No, we're not going to move on. Kim Kardashian revealed many things on this interview. But one of them, she was asked, is there anything you have done that you should have been canceled for but weren't?
That's a diabolical thing to ask someone.
Yeah.
You just, you know what you say? You say, no, I've been perfect literally my entire life.
And, you know, there are probably just many myriad examples that Kim Kardashian could have referenced here, but she chose to mention was a creepy photo shoot that she did with Justin Bieber back in 2010 when he was 16 years old, and she says she doesn't know how old she was, maybe 30, and it was seductive in its themes.
Here's the clip of her.
Yeah, here was her confession.
Here we go.
What is something you probably should have gotten canceled for but didn't?
I know what it is, and I think I'm going to get canceled if I say it.
You're like, I'm not bringing that shit
Is
back.
this like one of those things that like she wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about? Like, what if somebody remembers this?
Wakes up screaming.
Like, I don't know who approved this, and I don't know who thought that this was normal, this narrative, but I did a photo shoot with Justin Bieber, and he was 16 years old, and I don't know how old I was, and it was like a play. His girlfriend was there, his parents were, I mean, it was like nothing creepy at all, but I look back and I'm like, that's the one thing that I feel like, you know, he's like a good dear friend of ours and the whole family, but like,
what'd you do, Kim?
who thought that that was a good idea?
What did you do,
know,
Kim?
I must have been 30 years old, you know?
I could see that. I could see that getting murky.
But it was a story of, what's that story with the teacher and the student? The Graduate.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I just feel like that was nothing ever weird, was obviously happening. And like, I just think that was like an odd concept, and why none of us thought that that was odd at the time. But now we look back and I'm like, that would have not been the most appropriate thing.
Okay.
So what?
All right. Well, like, it's not appropriate, right? But there's something that people do that I think is actually a result of like feminism overall, and that's making the argument or implying the argument that a woman sleeping with a boy under 18 is equally as bad as a man sleeping with a girl under 18. And I don't think it is, because the ramifications to a young girl, if she were to get pregnant, the bad things that can happen to a young girl are far exceed the bad things that can happen to a boy. It is something that we should, you know, we should say that we should, you know, say it's bad and we should condemn it. But the idea that it's the same, which is what people try to imply a lot of times, and that's a totally that is an argument that men and women are the same, and men and women are not the same. The reason that it is way worse if a older man has sex with a younger girl like that is because men and women are not the same.
Well, we see like now there's like an epidemic of like female teachers sleeping with teenagers in school, and the comments are usually littered with people saying, where were these teachers when I was in school?
Well, most
Like-
people share your instinct,
Yeah.
Phil, that young women are more vulnerable
Significantly.
than young men. That's not really the issue here.
No,
it's kind of the fact
that's not
that
what
they-
happened.
Appropriate level, is that the issue?
The issue here is that is
The-
like the photo shoot itself. Like nobody's talking that like anything physical happened. They're just saying that whoever approved this photo shoot, it's like the Brooke Shields photo shoot, but not the same
Not
thing.
quite as bad.
Not as bad as that, but it's like
But
the
yeah,
idea is like, how did this get past legal? How did this get past standards and practices as something we want to advertise for our mag? Because it was for like Elle magazine or something.
Right. This was a photo shoot for Elle magazine back in 2010, and the creative concept behind it was the 1967 film The Graduate. Can you pull up the photos here? This is not the worst of it, and it's hard to find the evidence now because Elle magazine has scrubbed it from their website. This is not all of it though. There's more in this Reddit post. You have that?
Oh yeah, I do here.
And the story in the movie is it stars Dustin Hoffman playing a recent college graduate seduced by an older married woman, but ends up falling for her daughter. Anyway, he was 16 in this photo shoot, and knowing about Justin Bieber's early days as a up-and-coming pop star, and the way that people talked to him and talked about him and touched him and the way they treated him.
What was it?
There was an infamous clip of him at the 2012 VMAs where Jenny McCarthy is grabbing, groping, and kissing him against his will, and he openly says on stage that he feels violated, but that's not even the worst example. I mean, he was being asked sexually explicit questions in interviews from the time when he was like 14 years old, and adults were making lewd comments about him, both male and female celebrities and journalists across the board. It was just seeming to be like socially acceptable back then to treat him like this as a child star.
Yeah.
And
not just treat him like this, but to openly violate things that he was making clear that he was uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what he wanted. It didn't matter that he was saying no. It was just, oh, we can do this because, whatever.
Right. And in one of those interviews, there was some host that asked him, like, have you lost your virginity, or like, have you had the talk with your parents or something? Yeah. And he said, like, I don't think we need to talk about this. Like, I'm 14. Like, he even had the sense back then to correct them. But yeah, seems like there was just nobody in his corner, like, telling him what to look out for.
There's a 20 there.
Pop Culture Junkie said, I lived through the new Coke debacle. Pepsi was starting to kick Coke's ass. There were always conspiracy theory rumors that the entire new formula / rebrand and switch back to the original was planned as a stunt.
I would love to see like the email evidence of that. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been. I don't know if it would have been like email back then, but I would love to see the evidence of that.
So Kim is reflecting on this now, 15 years later. Thinking like nobody in my family or any of the photographers or editors or creative directors, and not even his own mom, who was present at the photo shoot, thought that maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And like, why did that not even cross our minds? Like, obviously now that would not be seen as acceptable, but a lot has changed, and some of it actually for the better.
Yep.
I think it's a good thing that this isn't seen as acceptable anymore.
Yeah. I mean, especially knowing what look, you can't make that comment, but then also talk about like him showing up at Diddy's house to spend the weekend and pretend like bad things weren't happening.
Yeah, and before people start commenting about Diddy, I will remind you that Justin said, he posted about all of these allegations that Diddy abused him and said that he is not a victim of Diddy. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you want to do with that information, if you think that he's just being pressured into denying the rumors, but he said that he wasn't one of Diddy's victims. I think he was a victim of a lot of other people, and people who were using him, and putting him in uncomfortable, vulnerable situations that he shouldn't have been in. Yeah. I think he was exposed to drugs as well, like way too young.
They made it seem like it wasn't creepy because his mom was there. It's like, no, that makes
creepy it worse
as well because the mom was there.
All of this stuff, though, is a symptom of him being in the entertainment world more than anything else.
Exactly.
Well, yes.
But that's also not to say that just because that's seen as socially unacceptable now, that we've like made strides in letting kids be kids these days. Like, even just weeks ago, we were talking about Kim Kardashian's outing with her 12-year-old daughter, North, and this girl is dressed like a prostitute, wearing a corset and a mini skirt and platform heels out with her mom in front of the world. And Kim was asked to answer for that decision on the same interview, and here is what she had to say.
There we go.
Like, any mom of a teenager or a preteen, unless you've been here, like, please, we just need a little bit of grace. Like, it's really hard, and it's really like, it's interesting because all the kids are like wearing the same things, but then my daughter tries to wear it, and then I'm like, okay, we're never wearing that again. Unfortunately, we made that mistake in front of the whole world. And she's, usually a girl that dresses like a tomboy most of the time. And she wanted to try something that her friends were wearing and went to the same place that they went to. And they all got these, outfits.
Yeah.
And then
Like, your parents are supposed to like, well, so-and-so is doing this. And your parents say, well, if so-and-so wanted to jump off a bridge, would you follow them?
Right.
she wears them. And it's just like, okay, wait, maybe you can't wear that, And so as a mom, you're kind of like learning at the same time. But what I do know is my baby's such a good girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure she's a good girl. She just has terrible guidance from every adult in her life.
Yeah, that's exactly
including her mother, who got famous off of a sex tape and pretended that it was leaked. But this is not really exclusive to the entertainment industry. I mean, I was just recently at a tailor, and she has a lot of dresses for homecoming season in her workspace. And I'm looking at them, and we start talking about it, and she's showing me, like, look at this stuff that they're wearing to homecoming at the high school, like a high school homecoming, not even college. And she's showing me, like, this is see-through, like, and they come in with these tiny, tiny dresses, and they're asking me to make them even shorter and make them even tighter. And their parents are paying hundreds of dollars for these dresses.
Yeah.
And to get them altered shorter and sluttier for their teenage daughters. And it's like, well, this isn't a Kim Kardashian problem. This is society-wide.
Yeah.
That there are not... specifically fathers willing to say you're not going out like that.
Yep.
And specifically in North's situation, obviously she does not have an active relationship with her father. That was something else that came up in this interview, and she was talking about dealing with Kanye's mental episodes. One thing she said was that when they were married, she would come home and we had 5 Lamborghinis, and they would all be gone if he was in an episode. And I'd be like, oh, where's all our cars? Like, my new car. And it would be like, oh, he gave them all away to his friends. There was another part of the interview where it was really sad. She said, like, North was crying to her, telling her, like, it's too late for like you and Dad, like, you need to date and like find someone new. Like, she's mourning the loss of like her parents' marriage, and it's just like something that also doesn't need to be projected for an audience of millions of people to feed on the breakdown of a family. Like, it's really sad, but yeah, just more evidence that Kim Kardashian is deeply out of touch.
Yeah.
We also saw her talking about the fact that she knows not the price of basic household items, like
How much is milk?
a carton of milk. Here's what she said.
I don't know if I have that one.
that.
I have. I think it's this one.
I mean,
From Zach
I
Peter.
don't have a concept of what like certain simple things cost, which really is, I'd like to know a little bit more about what like a milk carton cost, and let me think about this.
You can text.
No, I mean,
Who was it that guessed like grocery prices? There was some billionaire that they asked to like guess.
Bill Gates.
Was it Bill
It was
Gates?
Bill Gates.
Yeah, he said like a box of cereal is like $12. It might be with the rate of
Look,
inflation.
these things don't.
eventually.
These things don't bother me when celebrities don't
No.
know that. Like, this is the thing. I did a video today about director Andy Muschietti blaming the fans for the failure of The Flash, and my point is, like, in your business, you should know the downfalls, the pitfalls of like blaming the people who are supposed to be giving you money for your movie not making any money. But I don't expect somebody worth $30 zillion to know the price of milk. I don't.
Yeah.
I do not expect it. I tweeted, I said, I don't know the price of a BBL, so I guess we're even.
Well,
Like-
we have a 20 from Boosted Yogi. It's a serious problem. Without failure, ever prom season, hundreds of parents post their young daughters in these tiny dresses on Marketplace. Like, WTF are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're like see-through. It's basically lingerie at this point, like from what I saw.
Yeah.
And this is just
Ugh.
deemed acceptable and normal, and they're allowed to wear that. I was even saying, like, I don't know, I never had homecoming or prom or anything. We didn't have a football team at my high school, but we did have dances. And it was just like a casual thing. Like, nobody cared what we wore to the dance, as long as you were wearing a dress that wasn't immodest, you were like allowed in, and nobody cared.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. But yeah, to what you were saying, I don't think that anyone should be mad at Kim Kardashian for not knowing the cost of groceries.
No.
It just should inform, you know, how much stock you put in her opinions about other things that we deal with in society. Like maybe her political opinions, or maybe her opinions about work, about money, about relationships.
And they asked that stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And if you asked Bill Gates questions, or you asked Jeff Bezos questions about running multi-billion-dollar corporations, you're not going to know the answer either. It's just that one of them is more commonplace and the other one is less.
Right.
It takes all kinds.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.